Welcome friends to our first of many, hopefully, 2-cent community reviews. Basically, we're just going to be going over the things that have happened over the past month, videos, community posts like the superlatives, and the fights. So let's jump right to it. First, let's do the one that's on screen, the 800 subscriber community post that I made. There were posts before these, but these are well out of the ones before this are well out of the month. And some of them really aren't relevant. They're just me kind of messing around with the community post. So this will be the first one we start on. So I had asked you guys, when I hit 1K, what other content did you want to see from this channel? And as you can tell, Avatar came in second with 25%, Koga in third with 19%, Jujutsu Kaisen with 46%, comic books with 6%, and finally other with 3%. Now, personally, I was a little upset at the results of this one. I personally was leaning more towards wanting to do Avatar The Last Airbender and comic book stuff because those are kind of more, that's more in my wheelhouse. I am very up to date with Jujutsu Kaisen. I've read the most recent chapter, so I'm in the loop. It's just that like JJK isn't really one of my favorites at the moment, so it's hard for me to really kind of get myself motivated to do it, but you guys asked for it, so I promise to deliver. Also, I want to talk about some of the comments. I'll be posting in these videos some of my favorite comments, so let's go down to see what we got. Duncan Slaughter said, I'm kind of glad Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece aren't options. We have enough of those. I completely agree. I responded to his comment with, Naruto and some of these other ones, they have channels and content creators with subscribers in the millions. We don't really have that with Bleach, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it. We have people like Captain Havoc, who I love, is my favorite Bleach tuber. You have Mr. Tomo and stuff like that, who I think right now is probably the face of the Bleach YouTube community. So that's great, and that's kind of the reason I didn't give those options, because everyone's already doing them. Pierce Navarro said, boy, Avatar kind of banger, firebender all the way, but alas, I stand by warning Burn the Witch. More, just finished my second read, it's fire stuff, and you can feel Kubo loves it. I agree. Like I said, I'm going to be doing Burn the Witch. I bought the book as I posted in the community tab. I'm trying to still figure out an exact way to show it to you guys. What I'm probably going to do is pre-record me reading it, edit out some parts, scratch it up a bit so that I don't get hit with some copyright stuff. That's really it. Also, Earthbenders all day, every day. Also, one quick message. I won't be touching on Rurouni Kenshin or Naruto for a bit until certain authors' positions are a bit more clear, and if you know what's going on with Rurouni Kenshin and Kishimoto, then you know. Now we're moving on to this month's posted superlatives, and the first one we did was who would become the next head captain after Shusuke Kurako. Now, if you're unfamiliar with superlatives, go read it again. I explained it. And this one was very interesting. I knew Byakuya was going to run away with it, but I was surprised at what some people thought. Corrupt Angel said, definitely Toshiro or Byakuya. The only thing Toshiro is lacking is time to gain more experience and master his power. If Shusuke can survive for at least a couple decades, preferably a century, Toshiro becomes head captain, but at the moment Byakuya Kuchiki. And this honestly seemed to be the consensus thought amongst all of you. Basically that Toshiro was too young, but eventually if he were to mature, he would be the next head captain in line, but Byakuya would be the best right now. Other people came in with so many less votes, like Shinji. But then that made me come up with an even more interesting question. Would the Central 46 accept Visors as a head captain? Personally, I don't think they would. I think between all the politics, corruption, and bureaucracy, that they care too much about optics to let a hollow run the head captain spot, basically. But I asked you guys, and some people had some very interesting answers. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Let's move on to some other comments. Duncan Slaughter said, Byakuya makes the most sense. However, I don't think other noble families would be very happy. If Byakuya becomes the head of the Kuchiki family and the head captain of Gote 13, they might even attempt to assassinate him. And I really very much agree with this. I think he would have too much power, and the Central 46 and the other nobles just wouldn't have it. Wicked Rev said, Mairi wouldn't take it if offered. Too much time and responsibility from his research. I don't think Shinji would want it if offered, but I don't think they'd offer it him anyway. I agree. I mean, look at it this way. Shinji is banned from even using his Bankai in the Seirete, so I doubt they'd put him at a head captain position, amongst many other reasons, simply. Next up, we have the superlative for Best Dressed Soul Reaper, and people were pretty miffed about this one, I think. Yoruichi Shioin had a solid win at 33% of the votes, Shinji 17% of the votes, Mairi 19%, Toshiro 12%, and then 19% of the other votes went to other candidates. And I think that's where things got very interesting. Malcolm R has my favorite comment in the entire video, period. Bro, Nimaya came in with the Montclair puffers, Ray-Ban shades, Gucci slippers, the literal sharpest sword, and 20. He clearly is the best dressed. I kind of sort of agree. I still think it's Yoruichi, but I really get the sentiment. I really do. Sentizo said, Byakuya easy with that turban. Now, I actually really disagree with this. I really didn't like the Royal Guard look from Byakuya. I actually prefer it when it's all torn up, kind of like how, like, I don't really like Goku's outfit that much, but I prefer Goku's outfit when it's torn up. I like it that way. Nishan Henry said, I got Shinji necktie and the hairstyle is pretty cool. My favorite Shinji fit is easily the one he was wearing when he fought Grimmjow with the mask. J Hill also brought up a great point that, like, abilities and powers can be accessorized. Like, I love her Shikai as well on her. That, like, golden gauntlet is so sick. It's so awesome. And remember what I said, other mediums, promotional stuff, all that stuff counts. Next up was Best Dressed Hollow, and this one was definitely interesting. I think a lot of people really didn't know what to pick. White / Zangetsu came in with 21% of the votes, Baragon with 9%, Ukiyo-e Cipher with 14%, and Tear Holybell with 16%. Now, most of you must have thought none of those were really good choices because 39% of the votes, a good portion of them, were to other possible hollows. And the actual winner was Stark because that was the one I saw commented the most. I thought White had a great chance because basically he's Ichigo's swag, just inverted colors. And just as a quick reminder again, guys, the BBS forms, other things, promotional stuff, all that stuff counts when we talk about what they wear. So with that, this actually made me change my idea about who I thought it was. Like, I had picked Stark, but then after looking at all the extra BBS content and some of the other promotional stuff, it's Holybell, and it's Holybell by like a mile. This comment shows a lot of what was also in the comment section of just people having a hard time picking between base versions of each other, resurrection versions of each other, and I think this was probably the most contentious in most people's minds because they love the design of the hollows so much. And last but not least, for the superlatives, we have Best Dressed Execution Member. Now, this one didn't get as much traction as the other community posts. I don't know if it's maybe because everyone's getting kind of tired of the best dress, so we'll probably change it up. Just let me know in the comment sections. And I also must say, I disagree with all you guys. In first place was Kugo Ginjo with 62% of the votes. In second place, it was Yukio with 15%, Riruka in third with 13%, and Jackie and Giriko were tied at 5% of the votes. And man, I really didn't understand this one. I don't know if it was just that Ginjo is everyone's favorite, but like the man has like one biker jacket and a tank top. Like that's compared to Riruka, like he's not really styling. Duncan Slaughter said that I'm convinced people voted for Riruka for a different reason. And I'm pretty sure people definitely voted for that reason, but Riruka really does have a variety of style with her BBS and the 10-year time skip. But I definitely lean more towards Jackie Tristan. And I did have someone agree with me. Abudi said, Jackie's so underrated in terms of her looks. Her ability is underwhelming, but in my opinion, Kubo was in the bag when he was drawing her. I totally agree. Opposite Day logically doesn't exist. Said, Jackie looks like a fresh cabbie, but ain't no way she's about to outdrip the drip master himself, Kugo Ginjo. I mean, yeah, his name sounds cool and all, but like, I think Kugo's Bankai is probably what gets him up here as far as design-wise, because nothing else I really think stands out for me. Moving on to our last section, we have the versus matchups. Now, this one was interesting because I chose these particular forms for a reason. I had already decided that 1000 Year Blood War Soi-Fon would defeat 1000 Year Blood War Grimmjow pretty handedly. So I was like, he does have some stronger feats in Can't Fear in World. Let's see if other people think that helps. And you guys overwhelmingly voted for Grimmjow. A lot of the sentiment just seemed to be that Grimmjow scaled higher than Soi-Fon because he got to fight more powerful people. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily true. People will point at Ichigo being on guard as a feat somehow. It's not really a feat. People will point out that he killed both Courage and Askin, but both of those guys were off guard when Grimmjow attacked them. So those really aren't actually impressive feats. Soi-Fon, on the other hand, while basically on her deathbed, was able to blitz BG9 with her Bankai. At that point, BG9 was keeping up with her, so he is at least as fast as she is. She is probably the fastest captain, and on top of that, she has the Eternal Shunko, a Master Shunko, by the way, and Kido. Shikai as well, that is a 2-tap, 1-kill move, which she can enhance with her Shunko. I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for, but I think the scores were way too lopsided. I also want to emphasize this is not about calling anyone out. This is just friendly discussions. It's always cordial. It's always nice. And if I mention you in a video and you don't like what I have to say, just message me and let me know. All right? All good vibes here, I promise. Moving on to our final fight, we have Koga Kuchiki versus Shusuke Amagai, with Koga Kuchiki winning with 76% of the votes. Now, this one I kind of understand, maybe a bit more lopsided, because Koga was much more memorable as a filler villain than Shusuke was. I think Shusuke was the better villain, but I understand because, I mean, Koga had some of the most broken abilities in Bleach. He basically had a natural version of Kyoka Suigetsu, on top of the fact that his Zanpakuto itself can control other Zanpakuto, so he's a bad matchup against other Soul Reapers. My take on this was, I think Shusuke would pull out in a very, very close match. I don't disparage anyone for picking Koga, because I get it, but Shusuke has a Bakoto that basically turns off all Soul Reaper powers. So when I thought about that, I was like, okay, maybe he would turn off Muramasa, so Muramasa is no longer a problem. But Koga mentions he has a natural version of Kyoka Suigetsu where he uses his own spirit energy to mess with your perception of phenomena. So I was like, but technically those are his Soul Reaper powers, so could that get turned off by the Bakoto too? And even if it isn't, when I looked at Shusuke's abilities, he has massive amounts of omnidirectional attacks. On top of that, he has overwhelming fire abilities. He has a teleporting Kido. He's quite literally a Kido master. So this fight, I think, would be amazing to watch on paper. It'd be really flashy because Koga himself is a Kido master. But when I look at the fact that Shusuke fought Kenpachi, destroyed the cleaner, I just gotta side with Shusuke on this one. But I can also understand why people would side with Koga. Abram Ali Khanbati agrees with me that the Bakoto was really what makes a difference in this fight. It really nullifies Koga's advantage. King Sushi left a really good comment. Crazy how I've always wanted to see the filler villains interact with each other, but Koga should slap. I would pay real good money to see a crazy what-if interaction between Koga, Shusuke, Jinkadia, and Kagarosa. Like, I do really like the filler villains. They really have unique motivations and are really cool, overpowered, but Shusuke is probably my favorite. Also, guys, please make sure to check out our new series on the channel. I go live a couple times a week with Rade, who's in our Discord chat. He has a wheel with characters, and we do really fun matchups and talk about other Bleach things. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed our first community review. Hopefully I'll be doing more of these in the future. Let me know what you guys think on the different sections. You know, what do you want to see in the community tabs more? Let me know. This is really kind of for all of us. I want to interact with you guys more. I want you guys to be more interactive with the channel. I want you guys to be heard and seen. So enjoy your day. Bye.